When I was a young woman, I discovered my entire identity was a lie. None of these people are my real family.
From growing up in an abusive family to discovering later in life that that is not your family at all. That is the focus of the Monique Smith Story, a Lifetime original movie debuting this Saturday about a woman who finds her voice and her true identity. This film is the culmination of a lot of blood, sweat, and tears from Chicago journalist turned screenwriter, the great Sylvia L. Jones, and she joins me now. Sylvia, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes, well, thank you so much for being here. Great morning indeed. I just lost my eye off the back of this chair, but that's okay. We're going to roll right with it. That's what happens when you try to tuck it under your bum. So let's start with the film that you were the screenwriter for. Why was that a story that you wanted to tell?
You know, Lifetime reached out to me and said, hey, we'd love for you to write this story. And it's interesting. I had written a spec script. A spec script is just a story that nobody asked you to write. You just feel it.
Yeah.
That was based on the Bradley sisters. And anybody who's, been around Chicago for a while remembers that as a pivotal case. I've always had an interest in missing children and what could possibly happen. And I had sent that script around, and Lifetime, who I already had a relationship with because I wrote the Clark sisters, First Ladies of Gospel, for them in 2020, and it did very well.
Yeah.
They had seen that script, and when this story came across about a woman who had been missing, she's known as the longest living Jane Doe because it took her almost 50 years to find out who she really was. They were like, Sylvia, we'd love for you to tackle this story. And I said, absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
To be involved in kind of the missing children advocacy movement, and to bring awareness to the fact that there are a lot of children who are missing and who are what they call long-term missing. They are out there somewhere. We've seen cases before. So I was very, I was humbled that they would trust me with this story.
From when you started writing the first version of the script until tomorrow, like how long has that been?
The development process itself was about a year.
Okay, gotcha.
I actually was in Ghana when I got the call shooting a documentary.
Oh my gosh, okay.
It was October of 2023, saying that they really wanted to meet with me on this. And so I took the call, said yes, and probably from around November to November of 24, we worked on this story, and I worked very closely with the subject, with Monique Smith, as well as with Lifetime. And then we shot it in December, and they announced it's going to be on the air in April, tomorrow.
That's a quick turnaround.
It's a very quick turnaround, but it's an amazing story, and everybody involved just gave 100% on this story. It's like we all knew this was special, that this was something that people need to see, and I think it will provoke conversation with people around this topic and around family and identity and all kinds of things like that. So it's been an important, it's been an amazing and emotional journey.
I imagine so. Sylvia, this story is so important, but your story is so important and amazing too. And it's so inspiring because you went from being a journalist for about 20 years to taking this turn, and now you're a screenwriter. You're getting a call when you're in Ghana producing a documentary to be a screenwriter for. That's just like a surreal turn that I think a lot of people probably, it's an inspiration to them. So how the heck did you do that?
Oh my God, with a lot of prayer, a lot of faith, and a lot of courage. It was 2016. I was traveling along the eastern seaboard covering the primaries between Trump and Clinton.
Wow.
And something just hit me that said, you know what? I think I want to do something different.
Yes.
And
yes.
I went back to my old college dream of wanting to see what it would be like to work in a writer's room. And that was as far as the vision went. I just wanted to see what that would be like if I could get that opportunity. And in my crazy mixed up brain, I thought, if not now, when?
Yeah.
And I think, part of it was age. We get to that point where we want to reinvent, we want to pivot, we want to see what else is out there. And I got there, and I kind of made a bet with myself. I applied to a program at UCLA. It was a screenwriting program, and I said, if I get in, if they accept me on my little script that I write, I'm going to blow up my life. I'm just going to blow it up. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to move out of Chicago. I'm going to move to LA. I'm going to do this program in person. And 2 weeks before class was supposed to start, they said, yeah, we'd like, you're accepted. And I had to decide whether I was going to, put my money where my mouth is.
Exactly.
And so I did it. And, from there on, I'm a former producer. I tell myself I produced my way into the industry.
Yes.
But that's what it was. I took the leap.
You took the lead.
Yes.
Sylvia, I could talk to you all day, and I wish I could talk to you all day. I have to give you a high five.
Please.
For not only telling Monique Smith's story, but telling your own. And I feel like maybe your story is the next Lifetime original movie or a memoir or something. There's more to it.
Your lips,
You
God's
gotta tell
ears.
it. Hey, that's it. Sylvia Jones, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.